right, so it's the first day of February. That also means it's American Heart Month. So we are going to focus on healthier habits for our tickers. Here to help, NBC News senior medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres. Dr. John, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
See, Dr. John, let's just dig in here because we've got some new research. It just came out overnight, Cleveland Clinic. 41% of all Americans say they experienced at least one heart-related issue during the pandemic since March of 2020, I believe I read. I mean, first of all, what kinds of heart-related issues are we talking about here?
And Greg, I think most people have heard about COVID causing myocarditis. That's the inflammation of the heart. And it can certainly cause that, which can cause other heart-related issues as well. And unfortunately, for some people, can be long-term. And that's why it's dangerous to catch COVID. It's not the flu. It's not just a cold. But on top of that, we think of COVID being a respiratory illness affecting our lungs, but it's also a cardiovascular illness. It affects our vascular system, including our heart. And what 41% of Americans said is when they caught COVID, they also had these types of heart symptoms: shortness of breath, dizziness, increased blood pressure, chest pains, things that, especially if they continue or if they get to a level that's extremely bad, you want to get checked out. And so again, remember, COVID is not a cold, it's not a flu, it is a dangerous disease that you want to make sure you don't catch. Vaccination is obviously the best way to avoid them, Craig.
I think it's no surprise, but Cleveland Clinic's research also found that 1 in 4 Americans say the pandemic significantly impacted their diet and exercise. We know that diet obviously can play a huge role in heart health. So what should we be watching out for?
You know, the main thing to watch out for is having that good diet of what I call moderation. And that means not necessarily avoiding those things completely that you enjoy, but cutting back on the things that you know aren't good for your heart. And if you look at the diets that have been specifically targeted as being great for your heart health, we're talking Mediterranean diet, plant-based diets, the DASH diet, the flexitarian diet. These diets, heavy on the fruits and vegetables, unsaturated fats like olive oils, but they do give you the options to eat those things occasionally that you want to, essentially those things that we always consider cheating on our diet, that can go a long ways towards making you feel like you're eating a great diet at the same time getting those things that you really enjoy. And that can go a long ways towards making sure that your heart stays healthy. And when you think of diet, you have to get the word of diet into that heart area, not necessarily into the weight loss area, because getting your heart healthy is the important thing to do here.
That's something we should all keep in mind. Another stat from the Cleveland Clinic's research, this is interesting, 77% of Americans say they're more likely to sit all day now compared to before the pandemic. Can you talk about some ways we can sneak in exercise during the day?
I always love talking about this because we're all sitting around talking about it right now. But if you look at the statistics there, what they're talking about is because of the pandemic, we end up sitting more during the day over the last couple of years. And one statistic I thought even stood out a little bit more. Millennials and Gen Zers are more than twice as likely as boomers to sit for 14 or more hours a day. That means they're only standing for a couple of hours during the day because they're sleeping, usually around 8 hours a night. The thing about standing is that it activates your glutes, it activates your leg muscles. Those are the large muscles in your body, and that means your metabolism is increasing. That means that you're cutting back on those factors that could add to weight loss, to weight gain, could add to diabetes, could add to the cortisol levels we get from stress. And so by sitting, you inactivate those. You're not using those, and it's those little things that count. Just kind of the moving around when you're standing up, the kind of bouncing back and forth, moving from one place to another. So standing more is certainly something that I encourage, especially during the day when you can. And we do sit a lot as Americans in general. We've done it more during the pandemic. So stand when you can.
We're really fortunate because we've got standing desks in our offices, so that works out for us, and hopefully others can do that as well. But aside from diet and exercise, Doc, you say there are 2 other factors you got to be aware of: smoking and excessive alcohol use.
Exactly. And those are things that can directly affect your heart. Smoking, as we know, is one of the big issues that if you are a smoker, go ahead and quit smoking. Try as hard as you can, because that can be one of the best benefits you have to your heart health. Excessive alcohol, again, can cause heart conditions, especially myocarditis or cardiomyopathy type conditions, which are enlarged heart later in life. And of course, the exercise and diet that we always talk about, we've been talking about for the last few minutes. Even small amounts of exercise during the day can have a huge impact on your heart health. Getting those diet things in there we talked about, particularly more fruits and vegetables, cutting back on processed foods, cutting back on sweets can go a long ways towards keeping your heart healthy, especially as you age. And one of the interesting statistics that came out of here is the fact that people who have family histories of heart disease didn't realize that they can make changes that can improve their heart health. And these are the changes we're talking about.
Those little changes add up. Doc John, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.